You know what time of the week it is. It's Jayo Stole Sports. We are in week 7 now of the NFL season. Jay Lynch, what it do, bro?
Yeah, man, the season's flying by. We're already here at week seven. And I wish time would slow down, but
Hmm.
not for Dennis Allen's case, though. I wish time would speed up for him. But you know me and my gripe with my Saints, but it is what it is. All in
Yeah.
all, another week of football,
Mhm.
another week to be excited.
Yeah, we'll get to your Saints. We'll get to that division in a little bit, but let's start off with the game a few days ago. Minnesota Vikings went into SoFi Stadium and they got dubbed. They got
Yeah,
dubbed. Yes, there was a questionable face mask. Yes, we
there
know
was,
there
yeah,
was, the officiating needs to get better in the NFL.
for
And
sure.
that's like most sports, but NFL is most watched. So it's the one that's gonna get the most scrutiny.
hmm
But Vikings start off 5-0, now they're 5-2. Two straight losses. Are they pretenders?
Uh, I mean, it's a difficult one to say. That game was interesting, right? Because again, early on, you would think maybe Vikings would win the game, maybe. But then you saw a team getting two key receivers back,
Yeah.
in Puka Nakua and Cooper Cup, and it's looking like a whole new offense. It's looking like a whole new team that the receiver group brought like energy to the defense. I don't know. We'll guess we'll talk about that later when it comes to the NFC West. But to focus in on the Vikings, uh, they still look like a good team. They have a good defense. They played two tough opponents in the Detroit Lions and the Los Angeles Rams. But I still think there'll be a team that finds their way in the playoffs, but I just don't think they'll be able to win that division. Great start, right? This was a team that I honestly thought would maybe the worst team in football to start the season, right? Because I wasn't expecting a performance like this from Sam Darnold, but he proved me wrong. But I still think they're a good team. Sam Darnold, of course, he's gonna have to play at an MVP level if he wants his team to do well and go far. Um, but again, they have a good defense. They're gonna get healthier when Hawkinson comes back. Um, and I'm sure Sam Darnold, like he didn't play a bad game, right? He was
No, no,
unfortunate with that face call at the end. Who knows what happens if he's able to drive down the field? But again, it was a 10-point game regardless, or an 8-point game at the time,
no.
regardless, right? So he needed a touchdown being backed up in his end zone. But I wouldn't say they're pretenders. I still think they are a contending team. They have a lot of weapons, and again, Hawkinson's going to come back. And the defense, again, I don't think the defense is bad all of a sudden.
Yeah, yeah. And with the Rams, so now they're 3-4, and the team
Mhm.
leading the division, the Seahawks are 4-3.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you can see them still winning this division. And you mentioned they have their guys back, they're healthy. Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, arguably the best wide receiver tandem in
Yeah.
the NFL. And Matthew Stafford, say what you want, future Hall of Famer, future Hall
Yeah,
of
you have to say it. He
You
what he
have to
does
say it.
is amazing. Like I see like he throws such a pretty ball. He gets away. Like he's not the most athletic, but he'll make plays. It's like it's amazing, right? And again, he has a Super Bowl ring for a reason. So
Yeah. And like this guy's just going through his reads, man. You see one, two, three,
yeah.
with this fourth read.
Yeah.
You don't see that. You don't see that. This
No.
guy's a vet in the game. He's still doing it. 4 touchdowns. Great, great performance that he put on. But let's talk about the defending champs, Kansas City Chiefs. They just picked up a guy I thought they were gonna pick up last year.
Yeah.
I'm saying it
Yeah.
seemed like
Yeah.
he was gonna go
Yeah.
to the Chiefs last year, but I guess he just waited it out,
Yeah.
went to the
Cheaper
Titans.
option, right? Yeah.
Yeah, of course. But finally the time has come, and now he is on the Kansas City Chiefs. Mr. DeAndre Hopkins, how big is this for a guy like Patrick Mahomes?
Well, we saw it before when he had a guy like Tyreek Hill.
Hmm.
And of course, Tyreek Hill is a different type of receiver.
Yeah,
But
it's a burner.
what we see time and time again is when Mahomes can get a feasible receiver, he makes the guy look amazing, right? he's had to work with receivers that aren't up to the level of DeAndre Hopkins, and he's still able to get them making plays. You know what I mean? We saw it with Rashid Rice. If Rashid Rice is doing what he was doing, right? And I'm not going to compare Rashid Rice and DeAndre Hopkins. Like I think Hopkins is a way better player, but
Overall,
again,
overall,
overall,
yeah, overall, like
throughout his like I
career.
don't know because again, Rashid Rice is still early in his career, of
But right
course,
now,
right?
if Rasheed Rice is still healthy, you would take Hopkins over him?
No, I'll probably take Rashid Rice, but that
Hmm.
might change, right? Because we don't know, right? Because I'm comparing it to what Mahomes made Rashid Rice look like, right? And I assume that a lot of the Rashid Rice plays will now be designed for DeAndre Hopkins, right? So we'll see how much impact Hopkins will have in this offense. And I think again, he's always been a sure-handed guy. You
Hmm.
know, he's a guy that has a wide catch range and he can run a lot of routes. And I feel like having Travis Kelce and DeAndre Hopkins is like two like of the best possession receivers like of all time, really and truly. And they're on the same team for a guy like Patrick Mahomes, it's looking scary. And really and truly, do we think that this Chiefs team could go undefeated? They
Yeah.
sit at 6-0. If you look at the regular season schedule, they have the Bills, they have Houston, and that's pretty
Well,
much
those
it.
are the only two teams.
Yeah,
Those are only two teams you could say maybe they take it out there, but the rest, no chance. And for example, also if like they want to rest the last
yeah,
week of the season. But yeah, I think it's just the Bills. I think the Houston Texans have a chance, but I think it's just the Bills that have an opportunity to beat them this year. So we will see. But I did want to ask you this. So you look at the stats. Obviously, we know DeAndre Hopkins is a beast. But
yeah,
since 2021, the production has dipped. If you look
100%.
at receiving yards, 2021, 572,
Mm,
2022,
yeah.
717, 2023. Last year, 1,000. He went for 1,000. And then
Mm.
this year, we're already in week 7, only 170 yards. So do you feel like his like where he is right now is a question mark just on a performance level, or do you think he gets back to his Houston Texans DeAndre Hopkins? Because he is 32 now.
Yeah, that is a great question. And you never know, right? You see these receivers in offenses that may not be the greatest, right? You see him with the Tennessee Titans.
Mm,
You'd seem them to be a run first offense, and
yeah.
they have Ridley and Hopkins, and it just didn't work. Like I don't know if that's the play calling, the quarterback play,
Well,
whatever
Levis
it
is a
may be.
bum. We know
And
that.
Levis is a bump for sure, but it's probably a multitude of things.
Mm.
But that's why like you see someone get into an offense with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes under center, and I think he will get back to somewhat of that Texans DeAndre Hopkins, really and truly, because he really doesn't have to do much, right? If they have that chemistry, who knows what it looks like? We'll see this weekend. But if he's a smart guy, he has a high IQ
Yeah.
as a receiver, and he knows how to just like sit in a pocket, and that's
Yeah.
kind of what Travis Kelce does, right? Travis Kelce just like he has a feel for the game. He doesn't really run routes. He just like he runs something and then he'll like freestyle, and they have that chemistry. I feel like Hopkins and Mahomes will develop that similar chemistry eventually, right? Will it happen this weekend? Who knows? But I think that Hopkins, being the receiver that he is, having a guy like Mahomes, he's never had a quarterback like Mahomes in his whole career. I think he takes advantage of this, and this is we see like when Odell went to the Rams,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And it was able to like almost turn up his career again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When he was on the down
Yeah. Yeah.
turn, I think he picks it back up, similar
Yeah.
to Odell. I think
Yeah.
Hopkins has his moments here and there. He's able to score, make big plays on third down, and score touchdowns for sure.
I just don't want it to be one of those Julio Jones situations.
That's true.
We've seen when Julio went to the Titans, didn't do nothing.
Yeah,
Hopkins,
Eagles didn't do
Titans didn't
nothing.
do nothing. And then the next move, as you mentioned, Eagles, it
Yeah,
was a bad luck. Great team with the Chiefs, Hopkins. So we'll see. We'll see
mhm,
what happens. Let's get to a sensitive topic, but it's football at the end of the day.
yeah,
Tua is back. this is a career choice. This is not just a football choice. This is a career choice he's making. He
Hmm.
wants to come back. They saying he is expected to start. Is he making the right decision? Because he's been fragile since Alabama. He's
Yeah.
taken injuries. This has been like his third concussion in the NFL. What's it looking like for Tua? Do you think the Dolphins made the right choice? And if he gets another concussion, he has to like they have to be like, you're not allowed to come back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know. It's tough. Right? I can't speak for his decision and his family and all that, but of course we just gotta hope for the best.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's been through it. He's been through the ringer. Like the
Mm.
gruesome injury he had at Alabama, these countless concussion injuries that he's suffering in the league. Um, I don't know, right? You hear some of his press conference. He's very confident. He knows this
Yeah.
is life. Like anything can happen, right? And it's true, right? Anything can happen. You know, you can stop playing football and he gets in a car and he gets into an accident or whatever the
Yeah.
case may be. So he's playing a sport he loves. He's continuing to play it, and and it's his purpose, right? And he's just trying to fulfill his purpose. Um, so again, it's on him at the end of the day. I think the Dolphins are. It's hard for the Dolphins. They're paying him, and again, they can't say no. You can't play. You know what I mean? If he
Yeah.
wants to play and he's cleared to play, I mean, it's on him to do what he wants to do. But I think again, Dolphins need this resurgence. You see how happy Tyreek Hill is to have his quarterback
Start
back.
him.
He's saying, telling your fantasy managers, "Yo, you know what to do. I'm back." You know, he gave him that Jordan quote. You know, I'm back.
Yeah.
So it's good. It's gonna be well, man. I have a lot of stock, or I had a lot of stock in the Dolphins to start the season.
Yeah.
Tua went down. They had a slow start. So man, anything is possible. Hopefully, Dolphins get back on the right track.
Not possible to win the AFC East. That's Josh Allen's in the Bills. They have that. They have that. That's already
Yeah,
fucked up. But
yeah.
let's stick with quarterbacks. The number one pick, the number two pick, there's a potential they can face off this Sunday. Caleb Williams and the Bears against Jayden Daniels and the Washington Commanders. Jayden has a rib injury. They say he is better, but they still haven't announced that he's going to play tomorrow. If you're in Dan Quinn's shoes, you see Marcus Mariota,
Okay.
18 for 23, 205 yards in relief for Jayden Daniels. Yes, I know it was against the Panthers, but that's his first play of the 2024 season, looking good, throwing two touchdowns also.
Yeah,
What would you do? Would you play Marcus Mariota or would you give the fans what they want? Because we all want to see number
yeah.
one versus number two.
Yeah, see, if Jaden was playing, like, I don't see how this game doesn't get flexed to the night game or something, you know, to
Facts.
prime time. Because they're both playing very well right now.
Yeah,
Um, but it's a tough one because I don't think Mariota will be able to replicate the performance he did against the Panthers. We've seen the Chicago defense, and it's a much tougher unit. So uh, I know Dan Quinn, like the Eagles are getting healthier, right? And the Eagles are not going to just let Washington take over the division.
no.
So this is a big game for them at home, right? So it's hard to sit down your guy when he's playing so well. But again, are you thinking short term or are you thinking long term,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Does he think that Mariota can make it happen and somehow squeak out a win at home? Maybe, but it'll be tough. It'll definitely be tough. Um, but I think, man, I want him to play. He's on my fantasy team,
I need
and I
him
want
to
Jaden to
play.
play. You know what I mean? But man, it's tough. It's
Yeah.
tough. It's tough. It's tough because they do need this win. Really and
Yeah.
truly, they do need this win. But they need wins against the Eagles and Cowboys more. They haven't
Oh,
played the Eagles. They haven't played the Cowboys. So really and truly, it's a conference game, but it's not as important as those divisional games, really truly. So maybe he should just sit him, let see Mariota. Maybe he can do it again, and they can squeak out a win. But it's a tough decision for sure.
so this is where I'm going on this. I want him to start because obviously selfish me wants to do well in my fantasy. And I messaged you yesterday, last week. I
Mhm.
was like, yo, don't worry, like Kirk Cousins, he's doing his thing. And this guy stinks up the joint against the Seahawks.
Seahawks. What did I say, man? I'm
You know what I'm saying? So since we're talking about Mr. Kirko Chains, let's get to the NFC South. Big divisional game, Falcons against the Bucks, but the Bucks receive some horrible news. And who knows? This might be it for Chris Godwin because this is his second lower body injury, and it
Mhm.
was nasty, man.
It
So
was.
prayers up for Chris Godwin. He is done
Yeah.
for the season. And also, Mike Evans pulled his hammy. So everything, all signs are leading towards the Falcons making the playoffs. You can say that now, right? He's still saying, no, that's crazy.
Man, I mean, it's like I'm cursed at this point. I said that thing, I put it out there about the Falcons, and then everything is working in their favor. The Saints go from world beaters to a team that's just terrible.
It's bad.
And and now the Tampa, a team that was playing well, a team that like should have beat the Falcons that first time they matched up and lost that game. Now it's a team that was just Baker's team. There's no Mike Evans, there's no Chris Godwin. Uh, I don't know how the Falcons don't make the playoffs at this point.
Have to.
I don't know how they don't make the playoffs at this point. So I think I might have to give it up at this point. It's
Throwing the
sad to
white
say,
flag.
though I might have to wave the white flag.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but at this point, I still like Tampa this week, but it's going to be a tough one. I know Baker's playing well, but without Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, I don't know, man. It's and again, you look at the division. The Saints are no good, Panthers are no good, and Tampa is just having a year from hell all of a sudden. So, congrats to the Falcons on making the playoffs. That's all I
Yeah,
can say.
it's hey man, it's about time you realized. But but let's talk about injuries just all throughout the NFL. And one team that is just decimated with them is the San Francisco 49ers. This Sunday night
Yeah,
against the Cowboys. Debo Samuel still his status is unclear. Brandon Ayuk, he is out for the season, torn ACL. And you have to look at Brock Purdy.
yeah,
He's a pick machine now.
yeah.
So what do you see happening with the 49ers? Because I'm saying this because we've seen it happen before, and you know how often history replays itself in the NFL. Brock Purdy still hasn't signed that big contract. And in the draft, there's a draft that has a few good quarterbacks. It's not a stacked draft, but like there's a few good quarterbacks. And even when the 49ers picked a quarterback when they had Jimmy G, who brought them to a Super Bowl, they had third overall and they picked a quarterback. So that wasn't the best quarterback in the draft. And look where he is now. He's a backup quarterback. Do you see the 49ers doing something like that? Maybe going for a quarterback in the draft just because they don't trust Brock Purdy. Because last year I said Brock Purdy was top 10. And maybe I was wilding on that, but this year he's not even top 15.
Well, I disagree. I feel like Brock Purdy's played well prior to losing his guys, right? Like he was making plays, but now things are unraveling in front of his eyes, right? He's dealing with injuries to his receiver group and his running back group. So again, it is what it is. But this goes back to the great Cam Newton, right? Last year he had a quite viral take in terms of
Game man.
quarterbacks that are game managers, right? And now we're seeing it for what it is, right?
Mm.
Brock Purdy is a game manager. And when he doesn't have his pieces to manage the game, things don't go his way,
Yeah.
right? So again, I think Brock Purdy, it's not a negative thing, and that's what Cam Newton says. It's not negative to be a game manager. If he's
Yeah.
managing the game well, it works for your team because it
Yeah.
results in wins. But when you don't have your players to manage the game, it's not gonna vote in your way.
Mhm.
So I think they'll stick with them. I think they'll still pay him.
Okay.
I think he's done enough to earn money,
Hmm.
or get that second contract. But I think the Niners, they're back against the wall right now. They had to play the Cowboys, and yes, they usually beat the Cowboys, but again, it won't be an easy one because the Cowboys need this game too because they see the division slipping away with the
Yeah.
Eagles and Washington making plays throughout the year. So again, Niners, they're going through a rough patch, and we always see it in the NFL, right? There's always the beginning of the season when we thought the Niners were, that team again. Now they're going through a rough patch. How do they get out of this rough patch? And CMC will eventually come back. Debo will eventually come back and be healthy. But again, it's a long season. You got to manage it to the best of your potential. But the Niners, again, Seahawks are a team that they're not bad, right? They're not terrible. They had a big win against the Falcons last week.
Yeah.
Rams, they're getting healthy.
That's
So
scary.
and Cards are picking up wins too. So this is
Hmm.
not a division where you can just cruise through. So the Niners, they have their work cut up for them.
Yeah, yeah. Low-key a good division if you really think
Yeah.
about it. Low-key a good division. Last week, Sunday night football, Russell Wilson came back and he looked good. He looked good. I told y'all I'm starting George Pickens for a reason.
Yeah, you did
19
still.
points. 19 points blessed me. I got the win,
Yeah.
and I'm doing the same thing again. And he could have got more than 19. There's a couple throws that Russ
Yeah.
missed him in the end zone for. So,
Yeah.
they're gonna practice more and more. And I'm going with Pickens again. But just as a whole, it seemed like the Steelers were just comfortable with Russ out there. And
Mhm.
they just they just look good as a group.
Yeah.
And a lot of people giving Mike Tomlin crap for switching him out, switching Justin Fields out. But guess what? Mike Tomlin's been a coach for 15 plus years, and we've all been coaches for zero.
Yeah.
So this guy knows what he's doing. And yeah, the Steelers, they have hope now. They have hope now. We all know the Steelers were not gonna have a losing season this year. But you never know. Can they do something? Because Najee Harris is looking really good now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and they can't just put eight in the box, pack the box anymore because Russ is throwing the ball down the field. What are your thoughts on his debut?
Yeah, I mean, it started off slow, but then what we saw was his ability to still throw that moon ball,
Yep.
just throw it up over the top, give his receiver a chance, and then what happened? George Pickens came down with it, right?
Came down like this.
Like this with it,
Woo!
yeah, smooth.
Nasty.
So I'm saying it opens up their offense, makes them
Yeah.
more dynamic, right? Having that ability to throw deep balls, whether it results in a pass interference or a George Pickens play. You know what I mean? It gives them more opportunity, having to be able to stretch the field, opens up the middle of the field, and again, opens up the running game because now they can't just stack the box up. You know what I mean? You have Najee Harris, you have Jalen Warren as well. They're a solid team and they're a well coached team. And again, their best unit is their defense. So all their offense has to do is be, contempt, and just make a few plays here and there, and then the defense will do the rest.
Yep.
So again, the Steelers are definitely a team that you have to look out for. And if Russ is taking care of the ball and just completing third downs and scoring and getting the ball to his number one receiver. Now the Steelers, man, you can't sleep on them in the AFC.
Yep. That's true. One thing before we get into our picks, Deshaun Watson out. Didn't seem like the Cleveland Browns fans gave a crap,
Yeah,
but it's still we don't want to see injuries,
no,
but he's been playing horrible ever since he landed there.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's the worst NFL contract ever in history. It can't get any worse for the Browns, but Jameis Winston took
Jambo,
Jameis,
my
Jameis
guy.
took to his defense
Yeah,
and just you got to appreciate that because he is now going to be the starter
mhm.
and now it's his time. And ever since he got to the squad, this
He's
guy's been rooting
he's
for
been that
success.
guy.
Hasn't been
Yeah,
sulking.
you know.
He's just been a stand-up guy, a true
Yeah,
professional. And shoot, man. He's a guy that I put on my roster. I stashed him on my bench because
Jeez.
I picked him up quick. I stashed him on my bench
Hey,
just
man.
just
I,
because he like those guys was they've been
yeah.
waiting so long for their time, and his
Hmm.
turn has come.
Yeah.
So I think the Browns can like have big plays. Now I'm not gonna say they're gonna win against the Baltimore Ravens.
No, but I
I'm
think
not,
they'll keep it close. Like the spread is 10.5.
yeah,
They are at home. I
yeah,
think Jameis will bring some inspiration to this
yes,
team,
I
and I
know,
think he'll have a different energy because
yeah.
Watson clearly the team wasn't playing for Watson. You know what
Oh,
I mean?
oh.
There's a lot of like he almost had like a negative force field around him, and it just a lot of bad energy.
Mhm.
I think Jameis brings up a new energy to this team, a new inspiration, a new motivation. He's probably gonna lead them out. He's probably gonna do the pregame
Oh,
chant.
for
And
sure.
and and I think this will do well for the team, and I think it opens up more opportunity for them. So hey, if they do somehow beat the Ravens, I
Yeah.
honestly would not be surprised, but I do
Okay.
like them to keep it close this week against the Ravens.
Yeah, I was gonna say if like you have Jerry Judy on your squad or I'm not sure who else. It's not it's not a team I keep up with, I'll be honest.
Njoku too. David Njoku.
David
Maybe he
Njoku.
scores too. Yeah.
Yeah. Because Jameis, he throws the ball down the field. He may throw picks, but he's a guy that's gonna throw the ball down the field and he's not scared to take chances, right?
Yeah.
And actually I might, as good as Bowers is playing. That's interesting. I'm gonna have to see. Maybe I might go on Joku. Maybe I might go. It's
You might,
interesting.
because the way that Chiefs defense is playing right now, I
Yeah.
mean, I know they're not the greatest against the tight ends, and
Yeah.
Bowers is playing nice. Yeah, Bowers is ending up to be a great draft pick.
Oh, for
Um,
sure. And the thing why I'm thinking I might not start him is just because is Spagnuolo gonna make their best player beat him?
mm,
You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
he's definitely gonna draw up a scheme for them to stop Brock Bowers.
yeah,
But yeah,
you're right.
it's up in the air. We'll see. That's the only one. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do position wise, but let's get into these picks.
Yeah.
Let's start off with NFC versus AFC matchup. Two teams that are on 2 game winning streaks, and arguably the two best wide receiver duos in the league, Jamar Chase and T.
Mhm.
Higgins, Devontae Smith and AJ Brown. Over under is 47.5. Bengals host the Eagles. What are you thinking?
This is a good game, right? A lot of talent on the field, as you mentioned, like the T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, AJ Brown. Like it doesn't get better than that. And then you have two quarterbacks that are playmakers and superstars in their own right. Um, this game can go any way. You know what I mean? Bengals need it. Bengals are at home. Bengals around this time of the year they start to go on a little run. They might have shaky starts, but when it gets into the November or end of October, November, December, they start to make plays. Um, but honestly, this is a tough one because it really could go either way.
Yeah.
But I for some reason I just like the Eagles because I think that Bengals defensive unit just isn't that good. Saquon, you can keep it simple. Run the ball with Saquon, over the top with AJ Brown, in the middle with Devontae Smith. Like it's a very simple formula, and I like the Eagles defensive unit
Mhm.
more than the Bengals defensive unit. The Eagles front seven is solid, and the Eagles have decent corners now. Well, they're young, but they're rookie corners they're getting better. They're getting used to the
Cooper.
league.
Cooper.
Cooper DeJean, yeah, Cooper DeJean is making
Okay.
some plays, right?
Yeah.
So I think the Eagles have what it takes
Yeah.
to at least cover the game. But I
Yeah.
like the over. Really and truly, two offenses that can get in the end zone. AJ Brown, Jameer Chase, a lot of scoring. Saquon, like you know what I mean. I do like the over 47.5, but I'm on the Eagles for this one.
Okay. I just want to ask you about Sirianni. A lot of people give him crap, but hey, that was a little cool moment there on the bench when he's talking to Saquon. He's like, "Hey man, you want to go for your career high?" And Saquon's like, "No, like I'm Gucci. Let the guys play."
Yeah, yeah,
Sirianni, not bad. You're not bad.
yeah.
He's trying to get the fans back.
Yeah, you see that, right? He has a whole camera crew and shit.
All right, let's talk about another AFC NFC matchup. Two teams leading their divisions. The Bills against the Seahawks. You seen what happened with Coop first game as a Bill? Caught a tutty. You know what I'm
What did I
saying?
say, man? I don't know, man. I think Coop might be the one, man.
No, that was good. But in this game, the Seahawks are underdogs
Hmm.
by quite a bit, 4.5.
Yeah, it's up to 4.5. I think it opened at 3 and got up to 4.5. So a lot of Bills money coming in.
Would you say the Bills can take care of business here, or do you
Mm.
see Gino having a good day and getting the victory?
Another one that's will be interesting. Another one again, a lot of weapons on both sides, but I think what changes this one and what caused the line movement is the health of DK Metcalf. I think he's questionable at the moment. I'm not sure if he'll be good to go. If DK's not out there, that kind of takes away the big play ability. I know Lockett and JSN can make some plays, but it's not DK Metcalf.
No, no.
So I like the Bills in this one. It's never tough going to Seattle and they have the 12th man. Um, it'll be a hostile environment, but I think Gino might have some struggles not having a target like DK Metcalf to throw to. And the Bills team, uh, I mean, their defense has been solid. They made enough plays, really truly. Like the only thing I can see, maybe Kenneth Walker goes off, right? And then that's the reason why the Seattle Seahawks win this game. Uh, but I'm on the Bills. I'm on the Bills. Yeah.
Okay, and definitely questionable fit from DK Metcalf the other day too.
Yeah,
The Fruity Pebbles jeans. Don't really know what that was about, but I mean,
yeah, I don't know
to each
those
their
teddy
own, right?
bears or whatever, but I don't know, man.
That's
Whatever. I don't know how you put those on, but
yeah, that's
whatever, do what you got to do.
that's how he rolls. Okay, last one, the Sunday nighter. This is an interesting game because the Cowboys are underdogs. Meanwhile, Ayuk is out.
Mhm.
Debo is his status is unclear.
Yeah,
CMC's not there.
Kittle's not the healthiest. Yeah,
Kittle's not the healthiest. Purdy is throwing picks like we've never seen before.
yeah.
But I guess since
Cowboys coming off a bye, right?
I was coming off a bye, Mike
Yeah,
McCarthy is usually pretty good after a bye.
yeah,
And yeah, Cowboys are underdogs.
yeah.
But do you think Cowboys could pull the upset in this one?
Both need the game like
They
this.
need
That
it.
the games we covered so far, it could go either way, right? And again, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes either way for either team. The Niners, if we're looking historically, they've always had that edge against the Cowboys, right? Shanahan always is able to draw something up or get something going, and I just think the Dallas defensive unit is just too weak right now. Not having Parsons back there, not having I don't know if Lawrence is returning yet, but I just think they'll be able to run the ball, keep it simple, and play disciplined football, and just make their defense make plays on the other side of the ball. So I like the Niners. I don't think Dallas is a good team, really and truly. Again, the spotlight's always going to be on Dallas because America's team, but that kind of creates some bias, and I just don't think they are a good team at all. And maybe Dallas is just a bad team this year, and they're coming up in these spots. Yes, they got one against the Steelers, which they should have lost, but I just don't think that happens again against the Niners.
I think this is the only one where I'm gonna say we don't agree on. I
Mm.
think Dallas gets this one. I think Dallas gets this one. There's a lot of pressure on Shanahan. We've seen that viral photo with him and Sean McVay. It's almost like Sean McVay's patting him on the head, running him. And I think that just as a group entirely, they're just unraveling. You've seen what happened last week. Trent Williams thumped up a man in his helmet in his face. So, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of
Yeah.
frustrations going on with the organization, and I just think it's time. I just think it's time
Mm.
right now for the Cowboys to get a win, for Dak to look good, for the Cowboys fans to pump their chests up.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is one of those games where I think the NFC East becomes like more. I think everyone in the NFC East, other than other than the Giants and the Commanders win. So I think it's going to be very close now. I
Yeah,
think it's going to be very close now. And as you mentioned, with Jayden Daniels, if he rests, now when you face those divisional opponents,
yeah,
now when you need him now is when he needs to be playing his best football because you don't know what's going to happen now. Dak and Jalen, they've been in this league. They know this about Jayden is still a young dog in the game.
yeah,
So yeah, I'm gonna go with Cowboys in this. And it's another good week of football
yeah,
that we all want to watch. I'm
yeah.
over 500 in my fantasy league, so you know I'm gonna need
That's all that matters. It,
Steve.
it is it is tight end week. Before we wrap up, we should just give out two tight ends that we like to score a touchdown this week.
Good.
I'll start. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go with Cade Otton
Okay.
and Tyler Kraft from the Green Bay Packers. I
Yeah,
like them
yeah.
both to get into the end zone for tight end week.
Yeah, so for me, I am going to go with a Baltimore Raven tight end who
Mm,
was getting busy in the first few weeks.
mm.
Has quieted down a little bit as of late, but I'm gonna go Isaiah Likely to get any time touchdown there. And I'm gonna go Jake Ferguson in
Nice. I
Sunday
like
night.
that.
There's gonna be a lot of eyes on CeeDee Lamb, and I think that the way that Dak Prescott throws the ball to his tight ends is just as good as anybody in the NFL. So those are my two guys. This is Jayo Stole Sports. Jay Lynch came through, crushed another episode.
Let's go.
Subscribe, like, and comment.
Peace out.
Let's get it.